Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. AMC always doing the impossible, right? So here's what happened here with the 21-week SMA cross. Is this thing was lying? I knew it should have crossed last week, and it was just like not cross. It was like, and then you wake up today and it's already through. You know what I mean? Let me double check it. Yeah, it was 21. Yeah, is that on the weekly? Yep. Why was this lying? It was saying 165. I knew something was up. And then you wake up today and it's well through. So here's the thing: we're fighting the 100 SMA on the um, weekly, and this could create hopefully we jump over it or something. This would be a great area where you kind of make a shooting star on the daily today. Hopefully we don't stall here all week and then gap over the whole thing next week. But yeah, this is my area that you really need to get to. It's kind of 302, obviously over these peaks, but reclaim this channel. And let me show you the big picture that's going on here, and I'll show you the three options I'm kind of looking at. Let me get rid of that for a sec. I'll redo that drawing for you. So what I did is I redid this chart again, and as you can see, this is 2021. You don't need to see this one. Let's clean that up. So you came from, a double top, IPO double top, fell in, hit this channel, fell in, hit the bottom of this channel, false broke, had your first rally up. So in your first rally went to the 0.5 fib, which you see it, I think it was 103. It overshot it slightly on here. Right here, 0.5, 103.49. So it went right into that zone and rejected. You had this 378-day base, and you had been trying to break out of it, and you failed and hit it and final double bottom. So it's kind of similar to here. You had been trying to break out of this, and you failed, and you hit your low, right? So now we're trying to reclaim that channel, like right here where you reclaim the channel. We're right here trying to reclaim the bottom of that channel. That's when you rallied. So that's why I'm saying, like, any day this could reclaim that channel and rally. But they're obviously saving that day, or the chart is saving that day. We got the 21-week moving average cross, which is good. Maybe we needed that to catch up a little more. But this is like the final base. This is the final thing before it just like goes, in my opinion. Now, can we gap into that and go any day? I would think so. When this is ready and you're right at, you just pierced this 100 week. So that was kind of the last thing. You right when you went through the 100 week, you went all the way up well over the 200 week. So if we did the same thing, where the 100 week is here at 270, the 200 week is at 1269. So we would go straight from here and pierce 1269 somewhere, right? You actually pierce this center channel and higher. The center channel is at roughly 23-24 area. You would go higher. The 0.5, which you rallied to in 2021, is 47.43. You went a little bit above that. You just pierced that even too. So are we going to get like that decent rally and then pull back into this base somewhere like we did here? Did that decent rally over the center channel, pull back into this base somewhere, and then consolidate and get a second leg? Or are we just going to get some kind of GME 2021, just like one part where Kitty shows up, Donald Trump takes a stake, and whatever, we're all over the news, and everybody's loving it, and we're just going straight up for, whatever, a day or a week, and it's over. If we went straight to here, to me, it would be over for years. It was just like GME. GME is over for years, probably till late 2027 is what I pegged for the next decent rally on GME from much lower prices. So that's just, it'll probably have a few swings. There might be one play coming up early next year for GME is what I see, but nothing right now. Just because that was such a big rally, right? So if we did that, then yeah, I wouldn't expect something for maybe you trade back down to here in 2028 and then bounce again. You're down to 12. Like if you went up to 190, you'd probably just do this falling, slow falling thing forever, dilution fall, come back to 16 and then maybe bounce up to 130 again or something like that. But I would not, I'd be done. Obviously, it'd be great profits and everything. Now, there's a third option that this thing pinged around in this base a lot, right? Can we just pierce the base a little, fall back in? I that could be an option. That would be right here at top of the base around 1130. What if we just pierce that? Maybe pierce a little bit into that 1260. What is it? 1269 200 day. Then fell back, like gap down into the base, and then boosted out. So yeah, can you go straight up to 192? Everything's kind of pointed there, and we have a 1091 day base versus a 378 day base. And let me show you the difference. Wait, this is the bigger. Okay. See this 177% rally? That puts you at a roughly like 30 bucks. That's 177% out of the base. Where I got that is I measured over here how far you broke out of this base. It was about 177% above this base. So that puts you around 30. All these numbers, if something ever happens, I'll be watching. So yeah, there's a ton of options, but somewhere to test the top of this base is the first option, in my opinion. Doesn't really make sense to do anything with all this structure here. I mean, this structure is big. This structure could yield easily that 0.5 pullback or that one. I think it could yield this too. Because look at it. In comparison, the channel size, the base size, it's just 3 times bigger than 2021. So if you followed the exact path, like I said, you'd hit 47, 43, a little higher on that 0.5 pullback. And let me draw that in. And then I'll go over to BMNR next, which is a good example of what may happen. So say you went up to that 47 area and then you fell back into this base a little bit, like say $5 to $7, and then you just consolidated and then you went to the top later at like 300 or something like that. That's an option. And let me just show you what happened on BMNR. So when you have gains, you don't, especially on options. This is a more recent rally that was huge. So I'm just going to show you. So like say AMC, and let me put AMC next to this thing. Just so you know how they get you. If you've been in the stock for years and you're playing options now, and I put BMNR on BMNR. That doesn't work. Yeah, they always will. If you're sitting on a lot of profits, you don't take, especially on options. They have ways to get you. So let's put this one in AMC versus BMNR, and let's just look at some of the similarities. Is this on a weekly or something? Yeah, this is a weekly, but let's look at it. What they kind of did, look at here. You could say this hit a low, like AMC hit its low, and then it made a high. It hit its low, then it made a high, and then it pulled underneath, and then it ready to boost, right? So this hit a low, and then it hit a high, and then pulled underneath, is ready to boost here. So the whole thing about BMNR, I think the daily is better than this. And look, they're not too far off from each other. But yeah, look at how tricky this is in the end. Is that you hit that low, and then say you did like this cup and handle, which we're doing now. We're just finishing right now. We're ready for this, right? This pop up. But look what it did. It did a pop up to 20s, right? and then it gapped down to 8s, went all the way to 4, and then went to 170. That's something I could see happening. It's not, if you don't take this first, whatever we do right here, this first rally, I imagine they're going to kneecap it somewhere. You're going to get, that looks like dilution, and Tom Lee does dilution. This is a Tom Lee stock. But yeah, you gap up here, you get diluted, and now you're back to 4, and then you're at 170. But ultimately, you can just say, look, this was a final higher low, a spring for that big rally, right? This is something to definitely take note of, guys. This is, to get a big run, you're going to need a big fake down. We need a rally now. There's nothing to do in the stock except go long. So you need that pop so longs can take profits, shorts can jump on again, then some kind of slam down, and then the big rally. So whether this goes to 12 or 14 or 16 or whatever, let's see the time frame on that. May to June. Perfect, right? So we rip here. That would set us up perfect for like our meeting, our annual meeting. Maybe we get a dividend or something, or maybe some crap happens in that meeting. So yeah, it'd be perfect to pop now, and then just people take profits, whatever, and then all of a sudden dilution comes in ahead of the meeting. You're down here, and then during the meeting something happens, or right after the meeting something's announced, and then you just do this moon job. You know what I mean? This isn't current algo. I'm not going to go back to 2021 and say we're going to do that. I would take this run well before I would take anything. Algos update, algos do this, algos do that. But another algo that kind of tanked like this was Beyond. Remember Beyond, like, fell down like a rock and then it mooned. It fell down to 50 cents and went to $7. This is the same sort of thing. The algo is doing these final scare downs and then it's mooning. So, and this has to do with probably dilution as well. I would think they issued more, stock to buy more Bitcoin or whatever they're doing. And so this is a very good example because it is diluted. That's why I use Dogecoin too, because Dogecoin's constantly diluted. So Dogecoin and BMNR are good examples, I think, of what, similar to AMC. They're diluted and they, but Dogecoin's pretty stable right now, and it's pretty good. It's just super, super big float, or whatever you want to call it. I think they release 10,000 Dogecoins every 10 minutes or something. It's constant, endless dilution. But yeah, I would keep this in mind because right now we need this. And let's count off the days, guys. 1, 2, 3, 4 days. So like I said, in a stock, you'll get 3 big days and maybe a gap up in AMC on the 4th day, or maybe maybe the 4th day you'll open flat and then make a new high and then reverse, right? That's pretty great, especially if it's huge run. So if you're up 300, 500, 1,000% or something in 3 or 4 days, that's just take profit, And something like this could start with today's trading. I think any time, because you're right at certain levels and you're getting better volume today, and just need this little next run, and then maybe there's dilution. We come to that shareholder meeting, and then boom, you get some kind of massive run. Maybe this goes to 47, or maybe it goes to like that 190. Look how far this went. You came from, the low was 232, which our low, you could say, is around 160 now. Our real, our final low. I mean, we did go lower, but I would say 160. So it's not too far off. And then you came up and you're having problems here at kind of the 1124 area, which is very similar to us. That's our base that I just showed you. So then you popped above it, you kind of doubled that base. See here? The 11, except we did our tries back here, but this is doing its tries here. And it's doing that final pattern, that wind up, and then it gapped up, then shook out a little bit, and then made another high. So how high was that first gap up? 14.15. Shook down to say 12, back tested his base, made a new high to 21, and then just probably got diluted to crap, and then a month later just rocketed, and then it was all over. That's for a big run. We would need it, because if you just draw in these patterns, it's just a bunch of swinging. It's all it ever is. It's just a swoosh to the swoosh to the bigger swoosh, right? So if we took AMC and said, well, what do we have now? We would say we have the swoosh. We haven't got the second swoosh, and then bam, to the bigger swoosh, right? Something like that. See how that all made a high, made a bigger high, and then slammed down for a spring and made a huge high. So I'd be on the lookout for that, and this should be our mini run, and then we should have some kind of dilution, some kind of not huge knockdown. Probably lose all the gains, and then have a big run, right? This one went up to 21 bucks and then fell right to, and this is crazy because this kind of $4 is kind of a support area. So maybe massive sneeze, a slam down, and then a run maybe during, into, or after the annual meeting. Maybe there's something that's going on, maybe some kind of announcement. That would be a catalyst, but we do need this now. We need a reason for shorts to short. We need a reason for longs to take gains. We need a rally. We're set up for rally, so we need some kind of pop, short-lived, and then a slam, and then a good catalyst maybe into that meeting, and then a big run. Because this would be, it's nothing but a huge spring, guys. And this one, like I said, it took about a month, so just putting that out there. Have a good one.